Generation Z, often overlooked, seen as ignorant, irresponsible, and lazy, but the truth is a lot relies on us. So what exactly is Generation Z? Well, we are everyone born between the years of 1997 and 2012, so we're pretty much the babies of the world. So what is it like to be a part of it? What is it like knowing that every day all the problems of the world are building up and it's kind of our job to fix them? Well, frankly, it's a little bit overwhelming. So what most of us do is shut it out. We shut out the people telling us what to do or who to be. We shut out our responsibilities. We shut out pretty much everything while fitting the expectations that everyone seems to have for us. And what does this result in? Well, simply put, mental illnesses. And not just that, but the most mental illnesses that have occurred in a single generation. According to a Western Governors University study, 91% of Gen Zers reported a physical or mental symptom due to stress and mental health in the past year. 91%. Of course, every generation has dealt with stress and such things, but what sets Gen Z apart? Why exactly does Gen Z have the worst mental health of any generation to come, and how can we combat it? Well, there's definitely no definitive answer here, but I will try my best to explain the ins and outs of this so-called reckless generation and why we're suffering. Now, as a Gen Zer who is currently a freshman in high school, I think I have it on pretty good authority to go over the pressures that we deal with on a daily basis. The pressures we deal with start pretty much immediately after we wake up. We lie in bed and immediately scroll through social media. We see the smiling faces and perfect lives of those we are sure are doing so much better than us. We feel helpless, powerless. Most of us choose to ignore those feelings. It's not that we don't care, it's that we just can't face the constant pressure of reality around us. Continuing on, when we finally get out of bed and get the courage to do our daily routines, we keep our phones in the corner of our eyes, checking for notifications, validations from the rest of the world that our lives are continuing the way they should. School. Every generation has dealt with the immense pressures that come with school every day. But not every generation has had to deal with the monthly lockdown drills in which we crouch down in the dark, waiting for a tragedy that could hit us at any moment. Not every generation has been able to see all of the world's problems at our fingertips in less than 5 minutes through the use of the devices that we all own. Not every generation has seen so many people crack under the pressure as suicide rates climb year after year. Personally, I know people who have admitted themselves into mental hospitals and attempted suicide, and that's actually not that uncommon for someone my age. I want you all to know that I'm not downplaying the pressures that all of us face, because everyone has problems. But I'm trying to help us gain a little bit more insight into today's teenagers. A study by the American Psychological Association showed that Gen Zers showed more stress overall about everyday issues such as climate change, sexual harassment, mass shootings, rise in suicide rates, political issues, and more. Not only that, but Gen Zers have reported more stress than the average adult about common personal life issues such as money, health, and school/work. On top of that, I have yet to mention one of the biggest stressors for all of us right now, COVID-19. 7 in 10 Gen Zers reported depressive symptoms during this pandemic, and overall have reported the most stress of any generation in the past year. I've seen in myself and others a constant worry about pretty much the shutdown of our entire lives. But why? Why out of all the generations does Gen Z continue to suffer the most? The answer here is actually pretty simple. Anxiety. All of these emotions over a long period in time can lead to the mental illnesses that Gen Z suffers from, such as anxiety and depression. But everyone has worries and gets sad sometimes. What makes these any different? The important term to remember here is chronic. These mental illnesses, they eventually become a part of you. The worries, the stress, a part of you that becomes pretty hard to shake. So now, to all the Gen Zers who are feeling this kind of pressure, I have some advice for you. First things first, wait until you're comfortable to share your feelings. Talking to someone will only feel good once you're ready to hear what they have to say. In the meantime, do something that makes you happy. Watch your comfort show, eat some ice cream, cry it out. Whatever makes you feel better is completely valid. I know watching The Office or something light can always work for me if I'm feeling stressed. The important thing to remember here is, although what you're feeling might hurt, it is temporary. Everything is temporary. Eventually, you will move on, because that's what humans do. We struggle, we move on, and we grow. Now, once you're ready, it's time to talk to someone. This doesn't have to be an adult. I know a lot of the times I can feel so much better just talking to my friends, because the truth is they understand a lot more than you think they do. Another helpful thing could be an outside insight. A therapist, a guidance counselor, or even texting or calling a hotline have proved helpful to millions of people. The important thing is that you don't feel ashamed of getting help. According to American Psychological Association study, Generation Z is actually the generation most likely to get professional help if we feel we need it. It's a lot more common than you might think, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. The last step is probably the hardest, but it's actually the simplest. Move on. That's simple. Now, I'm not saying that this will be immediate. It might even take you months or even years, but it is just so important. According to psychologist Abigail Brenner, it's hard to let go of all you're deeply invested in and stubbornly attached to. But let go you must, because as painful as it may seem, it is the path to growth. So, to all the adults who wish to help their teenagers, I have one primary recommendation for you. Just listen. It's so simple, but it's so important. Don't try to fix their problems or make it your own. Just listen and provide support to the teenagers who have come to you, because chances are that's all they really need from you. I know the adults who have helped me in the toughest situations have just listened and offered their own support. Finally, to all my Gen Zers, it will get better. I promise. I used to struggle with terrible social anxiety. I was so afraid that what I was saying or what I was doing was the wrong thing that often I just wouldn't say anything at all. Actually, I barely even spoke. It felt comfortable to me in the moment, but eventually all the things I weren't saying started building up inside me and driving me crazy. But here I am, talking in front of all these people. Because if I can't do anything to tell my younger self to speak up, I want to at least do it for others. To my fellow Gen Zers or anyone who needs to hear it, you are not alone. No one is alone. You will get through it, even in the toughest of times. Thank you.